We are going to talk about what the heck PERRLA is, the structure of an APA paper briefly, how to write a quick APA paper with both of our products. And we'll talk about how to get help, and that is 7 days a week until 10 p.m. every night. And finally, take whatever questions that you might have. So let's jump into it. What the heck is PERRLA? PERRLA is software that will correctly format your APA and MLA papers. It not only does references and citations, but it actually creates the document. That's one of the big things that's different about us than other software vendors. We do everything. We create the paper automatically for you with the title page already set up, the fonts, the margins, everything ready to go. And as soon as you create your first reference, we automatically insert a section in the back of your paper to create your references. We keep them sorted alphabetically. We do everything. It is an annual subscription. It works out to about $4 a month. It's $49.95 a year. And you do get both of our products for that price and access to our crack customer support team. You can get started right now. Well, not right now, in a half an hour, let's say, by going to PERRLA.com. That's our website, and start a free trial if you want. Let's talk now about an APA paper. So an APA paper has 3 sections. It's got the title page. It's got a body where you work your magic, and then it's got a reference section. Now, not to talk to you like you're a 5th grader or anything, but inside the body of a paper, you're going to cite the work of others. If you have read source material, journal articles, books, whatever, and you've done your research, maybe you've got some quotes from other researchers. Maybe you've decided you're going to paraphrase some things and put them into your own words. You still need to cite that work of others so that you're not accused of plagiarism. So to do that, we're going to build a reference section in the back of the document that has a listing of all the source material that you consumed while researching this. And then inside the paper, when you are going to quote or paraphrase the work of others, you're going to create a parenthetical citation, and PERRLA does that for you. And it makes it really simple, and we know all the rules, and so we'll get it right for you. You don't have to worry about it. You're going to get a perfect score on your paper for formatting. Not only would your paper contain citations and references, you can also have an abstract. If your teacher asks, you can create a table of contents. You can insert figures. You can insert tables of data. You can create appendices. PERRLA does all that, and you can rely on us to do it right. All right, enough talking. Let's jump into this. Let's start with Microsoft Word. So what you're seeing is Microsoft Word. Here is a paper that I've got open. It's an APA paper written by Grayson Pack, a PERRLA employee. And here's the title page. This is all generated with PERRLA. The title page, here's the body of the paper. And you can see that Grayson has used what are called heading levels, or headings, APA headings, to create sections for this paper. So here's his description section, history, and so on. By the way, if you want to create a table of contents, we do that automatically based on these headings. So if you create a section for various things or subsections even, when you create a table of contents, we grab all of those and build that table of contents for you automatically. It's really simple. Anyway, continuing on, here's the rest of the paper. And then finally, here's the reference section. And PERRLA did all this too. So let's create one of these. Well, the first thing we need to do before we create a paper, we're just going to create a quick throwaway paper. If you don't already have PERRLA installed in Microsoft Word, it's really simple to get it. Matter of fact, it only takes about 10 seconds. And what we're going to do is we're going to insert an add-in into Microsoft Word. Now, you might not know this, but Microsoft Office, Microsoft Word in particular, has an app store, if you want to think of it that way. And PERRLA is an add-in. It's a true Microsoft Word add-in, and you actually don't get it from the PERRLA.com website. You actually get it from Microsoft while you're inside Word. And I'm going to show you how to do that. So here's Word. We're going to go insert an add-in, right? So I'm going to go to the insert menu. I'm going to say get add-ins. And here's that little app store I told you about. I'll just type in PERRLA and hit enter. There's the PERRLA add-in. I'll say add and pass the legalese, and boom, there you go. So we've just installed PERRLA. It's a one-time deal. We never have to do it again unless you're doing these demos, and then you do it every Friday. But you never have to do it again. And the next time you launch Microsoft Word, PERRLA is just going to be there here on the ribbon tab. So this little pop-up is telling you, hey, you've successfully installed PERRLA. To go create a brand new paper, just click here to the PERRLA menu tab and say create paper. All right, got it. So I'm going to click on this, and here is PERRLA living right here in this ribbon. The very first thing over here is to create a new paper. So I'm going to do that, and I'll say create a research paper. Now, in the side panel that pops up, this is where you actually interact with PERRLA. Yes, you choose things that you want to do with PERRLA from the ribbon, but you actually interact and type things over here in the right-hand panel. And this is resizable, and you can make it go away if you don't want to see it and all that good stuff. By default, we're going to create an APA 7th edition student paper. And the title is going to be Demo Paper for Friday. And I'm the author. There's the institution, course number. Let's call it Demo 101. Instructor, we'll make it be Dr. McGuire, our founder 23 years ago. And because I'm a slacker and do everything at the last minute, I'm going to say this thing is due tomorrow. And that's it. Create research paper. Now, what just happened is PERRLA inside Microsoft Word created a brand new paper. And that's what we're looking at right now is a brand new paper. It's got the title page set up correctly. It's got a placeholder here for the body of the paper where we can just start typing. And it doesn't have a reference section. There's no page 3 because we haven't added any references yet. So the fastest way to get something in this paper is for me to just recycle some existing references and add those. So to do that, I'm going to go up here to the PERRLA menu tab and say References and Citations. And that brings up the References and Citations panel. So I've got two options. I can create a new reference from scratch, which I'll do in just a second, or I can add references from my existing library. So you can probably imagine that every time you create a reference in PERRLA, we store it away. And now you can access that at any time and add those to your new papers. So I'm just going to grab a couple of these. And as soon as I click Add to Paper on the first one of these references, it already added the reference section. Matter of fact, I'll stop and just scroll down here. You can see that. See, there's the reference section. Whoops, just did it again. There you go. So here's my reference section. And when I'm finished adding references, that's enough. I'll just say finished. And now I have a APA 7th edition paper with a title page, the body, which we haven't typed anything yet, and a reference section. Now let's create a brand new reference. Well, you don't know this, but off screen, I've got a little notepad with some things saved, so I don't type all this from scratch. When I click create a new reference, I get this little dialog here, which has the most common reference types. Now we know, because we've been doing this for 23 years, that most people are using journal articles or books or websites for their sources. And for those, we will look up the bibliographic data for you and fill it in automatically. So I have off screen here a DOI for an online journal article. I'm just going to paste that in here and click search. When I do, PERRLA goes out and grabs that data and it puts it into this form for me, and I can review it and I can tweak it if it's not right. You know, we don't sit around typing this bibliographic data. We get it from a third party, but it's usually right. But if there's something that you see that's not quite right, you can, change the data in these fields. But in this particular case, it's a journal article by a guy named Richard Fitter. It's called Nessie and the Sasquatch, published in Oryx in 1975, volume 13, pages 38 to 40. All of that I got just by putting in the DOI and clicking search. So at the bottom here, it shows you a live preview of what this reference is going to look like. I'll just click next. I have a chance here to add some optional stuff to organize my references better, tags, keyword kind of stuff. I don't care about that. I click create. Now, what just happened is that PERRLA just added this to our paper. And if I were to scroll down, you'll see that I've got this Richard Fitter book here now inside my references, and it is alphabetically sorted where it's supposed to go, which is required by the APA. And it's also listed here in the side panel under the references. So these are the references associated with this paper. Let's go cite one of these things. So back up to the body of the paper, and I'm going to replace this by saying Bigfoot is a wonderful, if I could only type, wonderful creature. And I'm going to put a space and a period and then back up that cursor where I want the citation to appear. That's an important concept. We're going to put that citation wherever your cursor is sitting. So it's important to put your cursor where you want that to go. If you don't, you can always just drag it around, move it around, no biggie. But for efficiency's sake, just go ahead and make a space for it before you come over here to the side panel and then click the Add Citation button underneath whichever reference you're trying to cite. So in this case, I'm going to cite this Richard Fitter thing, and I'm going to hit add citation. And let's say that I got that. It's not a direct quote, or I would have quotes around it. It's a paraphrase. And I'm just going to say I got that from page number 34. You don't have to put the page number if you're paraphrasing something, but it's good because the reader who's looking at your paper and wants to go see where you got that would be really appreciative to not have to read that whole book to find where you paraphrase that. All right, create citation. So what PERRLA is going to do is going to create a parenthetical citation right here. And that's it. Now, believe it or not, right now at 12 p.m. Central Time, you already know everything you need to know to write an APA paper with PERRLA for Word. You know how to go get PERRLA. You know how to create a brand new paper by going up here to PERRLA and saying create paper. You fill out the data for the title page and the new document gets created. Now you can go to the references and citations panel and create new references or add them from your existing library. And then when you go to cite them, you just put the cursor where you want it, and then you click add citation over here in the side panel, and you're prompted for the page number or paragraph number or all that. So that's really it. Now, there's a few more things I could show you. One quick thing I want to tell you before we move on, though, because I am trying to get through this fast because I know you've got other things you want to do. We generate this text and we put it inside what Microsoft Word calls content controls, which are like little protected areas of text so that you can't accidentally shoot yourself in the foot by modifying these things accidentally. So if I click on this, you're going to see a little box show up. And if I try to type, nothing happens. If you need to edit one of these guys, you do it over here in the side panel. So over here, let's say that I misspelled that author's name, that it wasn't actually Richard Fitter, it was Fitters. So I'm going to say edit reference. And I'm going to change his name to Fitters over here and say update reference. Now, PERRLA will go out and not only will it update the reference in the bottom of the paper here to change his name to Fitters, but every time you have used that reference in your paper, we update that citation as well. So that's why we protect that text, is not only are we protecting you from shooting yourself in the foot, but we're also using that to mark the location inside the paper where you can go update things. Or say you delete that reference from your paper. We go and we take the citation in your paper and we change it to just say citation deleted, so that you will see in uppercase that you deleted a citation that was here in case you want to change the sentence that you were attributing to a researcher. Now you can get rid of that or change it or whatever. So we kind of protect you there too. If your cursor ever gets stuck inside this box and you find that you can't move outside there, just hit the right arrow key to get outside that box. And now you can start typing again. All right. Probably will never happen, but if it does, don't freak out. Hit the right arrow key to get outside that box and you're golden. All right. The last thing I want to show you, well, nothing more than PERRLA for Word. Let's jump over to PERRLA Online. PERRLA Online is really cool. PERRLA Online does a lot, but you don't need to do all the great stuff that it does. You just write papers with it if you want. A lot of our customers are just using it to write papers. Yes, it's also a student organizer, so you can keep track of your classes, your assignments, you can create to-dos, reminders, all of that, calendar entries, everything. But most people are just using it to write papers. And to do that, let's create one real quickly. So I'm just going to say create new paper, research paper. So just like before in Word, we're prompted now for what we want to put on the title page. Demo. Well, let's call this 201. Instructor, Dr. Shane Brown. Shane, I gave you an honorary doctorate just then by saying that. Let's say it's due next week. I've got a whole week to do this. All right, create research paper. Just like we did in Microsoft Word, we're going to generate this new document for you. Here's the title page. Here's the body. And there is no third page here yet because we haven't added references. Let's do that. Just like before, I'll click add references, start clicking some of these guys from previous papers. And as soon as I click the first one, I've already got the reference section built. You can see it down here when I scroll down. Okay, so we do that for you automatically. It's pretty cool. And just like before, we can create new ones from scratch. I'll say create a new reference, and I just happen to have an ISBN hanging out over here on this other monitor that you can't see. How clever. I'll paste that in, click search. And we go out across the internet and we find the bibliographic data for this. In this case, it's a book written by a guy named Nick Redfern called The Bigfoot Book. All this is fine with me for purposes of this demo. I'll just click that. I'm going to skip over this optional screen and boom. So now we've got this Nick Redfern book over here in our side panel. And if I scroll to the bottom of the paper, you've got this Nick Redfern book here. All right, so let's create a citation. Let's see here. Bigfoot is the most beloved creature on earth, said Nick Redfern. I'm going to put my cursor where I want the citation to appear. And over here on the side panel, underneath this Redfern book that I want to cite, I'll click Add Citation. And let's say that I got that off of page 56, create citation. Okay, so there is my citation. And just like before, you now know how to do everything you need to do to write a meat and potatoes APA paper. You know how to create a brand new one by going to the Home tab and saying create a new paper. We generate the new document for you with the title page in place. You can add your references here using the References Citations panel. Put your cursor where you want the citation to appear and say Add Citation, and that does that. There's a lot more that we do. You can see how all I have to do is click this button to add an abstract. So if your teacher wants you to add an abstract, I'm going to click that. And I'll say, here is the abstract. And abstracts have keywords. I'll just say demo Friday. Yay. So there you go. We can do all kinds of stuff here. Let's say that we want to insert a figure. So I'll go here inside my body of the paper. I'll say insert figure. Over here on the side panel, I can get a figure title. And this is going to be the famous Patterson-Gimlin photo. And I just happen to know that I have got that over here on my computer somewhere. Sasquatch demo, Sasquatch photo. Do I want to include notes? Yes, I do want to include notes. Okay, insert figure. Okay, so here is the first figure in this paper, which it's labeled figure 1. And if you insert more, we're going to keep track of that, and we'll update the figure numbers for you. Place for the note to go here. I'll just say, this is the photo that started it all. Actually, a still frame from a video, but who's counting? So that's how easy it is to insert a figure. I'm going to show you one more thing before I quit talking and answer any questions that you might have or do whatever else you might want to see me do. And that is, now you've got this paper that you've created from anywhere in the world. Maybe you're unlucky enough to have to write a paper while you're on vacation. And so you've written it here in your browser from your villa. And that's great. But now you've got to turn that cloud-based thing that lives in the ether into a physical document that you can give to your professor. How do you do that? Well, you probably have seen up here that we're in the editor tab here, typing. The next tab over here in the paper's editor here is export and print. I'll click that. The very first button here is to download a simplified Word file. That's what you're going to click on to download this to your computer. Now, when I click on this button, I'm downloading something from the web, and all web browsers will download that for you into your downloads folder by default. You'll see when I do this at the bottom of the screen, it's going to show you that it's downloading something. So here we go. 3, 2, 1, click. Okay, so that just got saved to my computer. You might not have even seen that. I've had it scroll down a little bit. So here's this document, and I'm going to just click this, and my Mac computer is going to open this document in Microsoft Word, and that's what you're looking at now. This is what we just created a minute ago in the cloud with PERRLA Online, and now it is downloaded here to my computer as a file that I can then tweak and then turn into my teacher. That's an important concept. PERRLA Online does everything you need to write an APA compliant paper. It doesn't let you do crazy stuff. I don't want to say like it's like a bicycle with training wheels. Grayson Pack thinks of it as like going bowling and putting down those bumpers so that kids can't throw gutter balls. That's not a bad analogy. But if your teacher asks you to do something weird, something that's not APA compliant, like maybe Maybe they want you to do something crazy like write me a 10-page introduction in a weird font with Roman numerals for the page numbers. Okay, well, that's bizarre. Certainly not APA compliant. And you can't do that with PERRLA Online because it's weird. But you can do that in Word because Microsoft Word is it's an incredible tool to let you do anything you could possibly want. It's even got an equation editor, for goodness sake. So if you're writing a paper in PERRLA Online and your teacher wants you to do something weird that's not APA compliant, that's fine. Just when you're done with the paper, when you save it to your computer, before you turn it in, just load it in Microsoft Word or Apple Pages or whatever word processor you've got, because they can all open Word files, and then tweak it to your heart's content and then give it to your teacher. Okay. So I think that's everything that I wanted to show. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And if anybody has any questions, feel free to unmute your microphone and just chat with me.